All right, Keith, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. It's so funny. Actually got this question this morning from one of our investors. I'm not sure if he's on the call right now, but Greg, his question is he feels stuck. He's at a loss for just he admits that he's just getting ready to get ready. He's kind of sitting on the fence, not knowing how he should get started. He does have a couple of goals of getting some wholesale deals by Christmas, but he was wondering if you could offer some type of, I don't even know what the right word is, Greg, but some type of way to get him going, to get him motivated. But he admits that he's struggling with that a little bit.
And so I think that I think we all reach a point from time to time, and I've been doing this for a lot of years. Um, and sometimes our business kind of ebbs and flows. Um, but I think for him, and I'm assuming he's not, is he on the call?
I don't see him yet.
Okay.
No.
But I'm sure everyone experiences this from time to time, even in my general real estate brokerage business, it's the same thing. So I think it's a couple things. I think it's number one, you've gotta set goals. And so what are your goals? And so you've got to set a goal. I think that's number one. And then I think you've got to figure out a plan to achieve that goal. So you've got to have, I used to talk about big goals, big plans, big dreams, and then big actions. And so you got to take big actions. And so what's the goal? And so let's just say there's a minimal goal now of, and I'm speaking to everyone, minimal goal now of just one deal. I mean, we're in August, September is in a couple of days. So that gives us 4 good months to get a deal. And so let's just say that's the goal. Some of you guys, your goal might be bigger. So as far as the real estate investor is concerned, let's just say that's the goal, one deal. And then we've got to figure out what do you want that deal to be? Do you want it to be a wholesale deal? Do you want it to be a buy and hold? Do you want it to be a flip, novation? Whatever that is, I think we've got to write that down. And so some of you guys have our handout on sort of like a plan, a business plan. So we've got to write out that plan. And so we've got to set the goal. We've got to know what the strategy is. Let's just say we want a wholesale deal. All right, so we want a wholesale deal. Now, how are we going to get that wholesale deal? We've got to do some type of marketing, right? And so with the marketing, and I'm writing this down as we go. We've got to do some marketing. And so I'm going to say we've got to look at I would first look at PropWire. I'd go to propwire.com, set up an account, and build a list. And so you want to build a list, and so let's say that list is in PropWire. You can build a list, and it's free. My favorite list is out of state absentee owners. These are owners of properties that they own a property, the property's rented out or is vacant. They don't live there, they live out of state. And so I would target them as an initial matter. I would target out of state absentee owners, and I would pull a list. You can set up an a direct mail piece. You guys should be familiar with REI Print. You can use REI Print as a postcard company. You can sit out whatever you can afford. Generally speaking, they cost about 50 cents a piece. So you can send out 500. 500 is going to cost you 250. If you do that, whatever the number is, whatever you can afford, um, I just make sure that you can do it for 6 months. And so I would send out postcards, and with that same list, which they'll send you the list, skip trace, and skip tracing, that list is 10 cents per contact. And then you call that list. That's how I would start off. So I would start off with direct mail to get that wholesale deal. I would I'll just mention auctions. I would look at the auctions. I would start building a cash buyers list. I'm a cash buyer, so put me on there. You start building a cash buyers list. Now with that cash buyers list, you can go to auctions. In our jurisdiction, here in the DMV, almost every day, somewhere in the DMV, there's an auction at the courthouse steps. And you can go to sites like auction.com, hubzoo.com. In our area, alexcooper.com in Baltimore is Ashland Auctions. You can go to those sites and meet cash buyers. Some of the sites I just mentioned are online auctions, but like alexcooper.com will tell you where all the auctions are in front of the courthouse steps. And so as I think about a lot of our coaching students and how they get deals from pre-foreclosures. They get and so they'll send out, and you can get from PropWire a pre-foreclosure list. So you can get a list from PropWire to do that. Pre-foreclosures, auctions. You've got to build a cash buyers list. I see, and then you've got to start branding yourself, talking to people, let everyone know that, like networking, social media, let everyone know that this is what you do. But I think the biggest thing is just to take action. I think the more that you take action, and you take action on a daily basis, just take a little baby step every single day, and you don't give up, good things are going to happen to you. I think about like Dana. I don't think Dana's on the call yet, but Dana is one of our coaching students, and he had failed previously investing in real estate and gave up on it. Then he found us and found our group, joined our coaching program, and on a daily basis, he was driving for dollars. He was just driving for dollars, networking. The type of work that he does, he's in the field a lot, just driving around. He's looking for vacant and abandoned properties. He's writing down addresses. He's skip tracing to get the homeowners, and he's calling, but he's doing something every day. And that's what you've got to do. And if that gentleman was on the call, that's what I would tell him, that do some type of action every day. As real estate investors, what we do is we're on the hunt for motivated sellers. That's what we do. And so we've got to find a way to get to motivated sellers. We have to understand who the motivated sellers are. So who are the motivated sellers? The motivated sellers are pre-foreclosure, someone who's getting ready, house might be going to foreclosure. So pre-foreclosure, divorce, someone who's getting a divorce, probate, someone has passed away, and now there's a personal representative or executor of an estate, and so we call that probate. So they're ready to sell. Someone just inherited a house. Someone wants to scale up or scale down, and just wants to sell their property below market. Someone wants to sell their house and needs a lot of work, and they just don't want to do the work or can't afford to do the work. Those are the motivated sellers that we're looking for. And lucky for us, especially because of AI, we can use predictive data sources to predict when those people are going to sell their properties within, let's say, a 90-day time frame. And so you can purchase predictive data lists. But the biggest thing is taking action. So I look for properties every day, you guys, every single day. I look for properties, but because I've branded myself, and so that's part of it too. You've got to brand yourself, at least with the people that you know. So it's networking, but you've got to brand yourself. You've got to have business cards. You've got to educate yourself and to continue to educate yourself. Come to these Q&As, get your questions answered so you can get out and feel empowered that you know what you're doing, but then also know that you've got resources that can help you. But it's like any other business, you've got to be aggressive. And so that's what I would do. But with any, like I said, with any business venture, you've got to actually write down what your goals are. You got to plan your work your plan, know what the actions are, know what the strategy is, and go to work every day. Do something. Like most businesses, real estate investing, there's technology involved. There's apps, there's software, all those things that help you run your business and find these motivated sellers more efficiently. And so you've got to invest in that. Now, you might say, well, I don't really have any money to invest. There's a number of different things that you guys can do to generate leads. I mentioned driving for dollars. You guys could do that, driving the neighborhood, looking for vacant and abandoned properties, writing the addresses down, skip tracing to get the phone numbers and calling to see if they might be interested, or knocking on their door. Pre-foreclosures come in the paper every single week in every jurisdiction. By law, before a house goes to foreclosure, it has to be in a legal newspaper for 3 consecutive weeks all across the country. And so in every jurisdiction, there's a paper that lists all the pre-foreclosures. And so what I used to do as a young real estate agent, I would get the paper, it used to come out on Thursdays, and I would door knock the homeowners to see at that time to see if they want to list their property for sale. And I got listings that way. And then some of those listings turned into investment opportunities for me. Now with technology and different strategies like novations, a lot of those are novation deals where house just needs a little bit of work. If you can bring the properties, current, and renovate the property, either that or a subject to. A lot of those are subject to deals. But you've got to have some type of action. Bandit signs are still good. I still see a lot of bandit signs out here. But I was talking to somebody else today that's in another business. They're starting a government contracting business. And one thing I said to them is just take a baby step every single day. I even sent that, I went on YouTube, sent that person 3 videos to take a look at, do something every day. But the biggest thing is don't give up. Don't give up. There's many people that have come before you that's been successful. There's many people that will come after you that's going to be successful. Question is, how come you can't be successful? The difference between someone that's successful and not successful, in my opinion, is that the people that are successful, they just don't give up. They know exactly what they are supposed to do, and they do it. And that goes for me as a young investor. I bought it was a mail order at that time. I'm aging myself, but a gentleman by the name of Carlton Sheets had these late night infomercials, and he was selling cassette tapes, teaching people how to invest in real estate. and I bought it and I took action. And that's how I bought my first house. He taught a chapter on creative financing. I read that. There was a deal in DuPont Circle in DC, downtown DC. And I went down there. I'm young, I'm 23 years old, and I pitched them this deal where I will if you hold the financing for me, give me a balloon loan. I'm just coming from reading this chapter. I'll buy the property and pay off the loan in 5 years. That's what I did, and that's how I bought my first property. And then my goal at that time, in my early 20s, was just to buy and hold property a year, and I did that about 5 years in a row, and then got into some other things, but the main thing was for me, I read that information, understood it, and went for it. And that's what you guys have to do. Take action, make offers, learn, pick a role model, follow someone on the internet. Like I follow people on YouTube. I've really discovered YouTube. And so I follow people, follow someone, have some mentors. You know, you'll often hear that this phrase "success leaves clues," and it does. There's no secrets to success. As far as real estate investing, probably the most successful people are online talking about their success. And there's no hidden secrets to how to be successful. You just have to want it, seek out the information that's free online, and go for it. You didn't expect that answer to be that long, did you?
No, but I appreciate it. It makes sense, and I'm sure it's hitting home with the people on the call also. I'm not sure where Dude is, but good information.
He missed out. I think we have at least one question. Let's see. Amanda Lee. Hey, Amanda. She said, you mentioned novation deals. Are there any challenges when doing a novation deal as a real estate agent? What contract do you use? So that's actually a good question. So there is no challenges. And so you use a novation contract. So let's say that you, Amanda, and Amanda's a real estate agent. Amanda, you use a novation contract with the seller. That novation contract is basically going to say that you and that seller have agreed upon a price to sell their property. You've also agreed that anything over that you get to keep. Now you're an investor at this point. You're an investor. You get to keep everything after. They're going to allow you to do some improvements to the property and then put the property on the market. Now, you could now, as an agent, list the property. So they'll sign a separate agreement for you to list the property and pay you a commission. Now they have to pay you a commission and or the buyer's agent a commission so that this deal couldn't be misconstrued as a net listing. And so you have an agreement, a novation agreement, saying that you have a right to do some improvements, put the property on the market to sell to an end buyer. Once you find an end buyer, you just use your normal purchase and sales agreement and sell the property. Your novation agreement says, like I said, they're going to get, let's just say, $300,000. You sold it for $390. You get the 90 plus your commission. Now, I feel like it would be cleaner, in my opinion, if you had someone else to be on the list of property, just so that no one could, like I said, misconstrue that this is a a net listing, which is illegal.
Okay, so when you so yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It seems a little bit tricky. So like, let's say for instance, I'm at Coldwell and they take a percentage. Would they also take a percentage of the agreed upon amount over the price that I guaranteed to the seller? Like you
No,
said, if it was okay
so you're a line item. You're a line item on
on the altar. Okay.
on the altar. So you're a line item on the altar, the 90,000, and then there's a commission to call.
Coldwell. Got you. Okay. And where can I find the contract? Or it doesn't?
Just text. I'll text it to you.
Okay. Okay. Appreciate that. And it's another way you can do it too, right? Like let's say for instance, if they need, I don't know, let's say for instance their renovation. Sorry, I'm driving too, so I might sound all over the place, but let's say for instance if their improvements on the property was 20,000 and you offered to pay 10 and they paid 10, and then you all agreed upon a price, like you said, 300,000, and then maybe the property sells for 400,000. Can you agree to split the extra with them too? Can you be?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could do it that way as long as it's in writing.
Okay.
And as an agent, like I said, it's legal as an agent as long as you have a listing agreement. It's legal.
Okay.
But I would just suggest get someone else to list it.
Just in case. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions, you guys?
I think Green has a question.
Okay. Lorraine, unmute yourself.
Hello, how are you?
Good to hear from you.
Hey guys.
Yeah, go ahead and ask your question.
You mentioned about auctions. If you have no idea what to do as far as when you're at an auction, I've been tailgating Cooper, my little partner in crime. I've been doing some stuff with him, JV, and some deals and stuff like that. So my question is, when you go to an auction, if you have no money, you have no idea what to do, it's your first time, is it best to have a cash buyer on hand that you can call, or how do you even start the bidding and stuff?
So what I did was I looked up properties that were going to be auctioned off. And so I looked them up. I followed them. I ran comps, and the day of the auction, I just went down to the auction and just observed. And so let's say, for example, and I was living in DC at the time in Adams Morgan, and I would just go to the auction, and I was curious to see what I thought I would bid on if I was bidding on the property and what the property actually went for. And so, and some of the time, it went for what I thought it would go for or what I would have bid it for. And then I started gaining my confidence. Once I had the money to actually bid, I started bidding on the properties. Now, you need to do the same thing if you're going to wholesale and you have a cash buyer. And so you could have a cash buyer, let them know that this particular property that's in their, what we call their buy box, is going to be auctioned off, and let them tell you what not to bid over. So oftentimes at the auction, you'll see investors, wholesalers on the phone with their cash buyer, letting them know what's going on at the auction, where the amount is, and they'll, the person on the phone will tell them what not to bid over. So they have them on the phone.
Gotcha.
And so at the auction, prior to the auction, you'll see the time that the particular property is going to be auctioned off, and it's auctioned off at that time. And it will tell you the deposit that you've got to bring to the auction.
Okay.
And you just make sure that you have that, or have. So I've seen it done both ways. I've got a buddy of mine who's a seasoned investor. He would go himself, bid on the properties. When the bid, he would put his own money up as a deposit because you win the bid, then you've got to go up and sign like a one-page contract and give them the deposit, which is a cashier's check. He would put his own money up, and then he would wholesale that deal, get his wholesale fee plus his deposit back. That's one way of doing it. The other way is you can have your cash buyer wire you the money, and you can go to the bank and get a cashier's check and take to the auction. And if you don't win, you just send it back to them.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, you guys? Alicia, why don't you unmute yourself? I think Alicia and I have been working on a deal, and when I looked it up again, Alicia, it does look like it's going to be a short sale.
Okay.
Looks like the ARV is about 430. They owe about 400, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the time, so it generally takes about I like to say 10%. But let's just say for today's exercise is 10%. So it generally takes about 10% to sell a house. Maybe a little less. 6% of that 10 is real estate commissions. 2% is closing costs to the seller, transfer of recordation, and title charges, and another 2% if the seller gives the buyer 2% closing. So I always just, to make the math easy, I always just go on 10%. Now, of course, it could be much less than 10%. So in this case, if the house would, if we're at 400, and let's say 10% of 400 is 40,000, so it's going to cost 440,000 just to sell the house. Are you with me?
I'm tracking.
So she owes, I think she owes 370, and there's 30,000 in arrears. These numbers are rough. So she owes 400, and then let's just say it takes 10% to sell the house. So that's 10% of 400 is 40. So that's 440,000. If ARV is 430, then they're negative $10,000, which makes her short. It makes the seller short. So it's a short. So I can talk to the seller if you like.
Okay.
Just explain that to her, but the numbers are just really tight.
Okay.
Now, the 10% that I'm using can be much less than that. Especially since we're sort of what I would call the new age of real estate brokerage, where commissions probably won't be 6%, or probably close to half of that, or 2 or 4%, 2 and 2, which would probably in this case break her even. But even still, I think the seller in this case is probably looking to walk away with some money.
And so in this situation, ideally it would be to sell the property. You'd have to sell the property for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what a short sale. So short sale means that the bank is going to be willing to take less.
Okay.
They're going to come up short, but they're going to forgive the seller of any negative balance. And so I think that she would probably have to sell the property for, and we can talk more offline, but probably sell the property for closer to like 350 to attract a buyer, which means she's going to come up short because she owes a total of 400. And then we would get the bank to accept that, and to accept less than what's owed on the property.
At the 350.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that that's the best option. There could be a way because it does show fairly well to sell the property and squeeze the numbers and sell it without having to do a short sale and just kind of break even.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that she probably wants to make some money.
Yeah, and turns out she actually just told me today, maybe less than an hour ago, she received about 12,000 from like a housing a down payment assistance program. So that would have to be paid back as well. So that would be tacked on to what she owes.
Oh, so she's got another lien on the property.
Exactly.
Out.
12,000 that I just found out about.
So she owes 412.
Right.
Yeah, so it's definitely a short sale then.
Okay. Okay. I'll talk to you more about it.
Yeah, and then she does need just a little bit of improvements, right? Some paint.
Just paint,
Okay.
but that's it. Just paint.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, I think we
Okay.
could help her. But yeah, she's got another lien on the property of 12,000. Then yeah,
And it's an active foreclosure.
it's in foreclosure now, you said?
Yeah, as of yesterday, she called her lender and they shared with her that she's in active foreclosure as of yesterday.
I mean, that's fine. If we can get a listing agreement on it and get a contract on it, in most cases that'll stop the foreclosure.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
We'll talk offline.
Sounds good.
All right, you guys. Any other questions? Anything else that we can do for you guys tonight? All right. So like I said, you guys, I think the biggest thing is we've got to take action. You just got to take action. You've got to be active. And that goes with anything in life that you're pursuing. You just can't sit idly by and do nothing. You've got to take action. Lorraine, do you have another question?
Yes, I do, Greg. What if you had a seller who has a property, has equity and stuff in it, and you want to try to engage in a cash buy, but it's difficult to talk to the person, or you started to talk to them one time and they just kind of like not interested in doing it. Do you just leave it alone, or do you just come back at it at a later time? Or
Yeah. So we always like to say the fortune is in the follow-up. So you just have to keep following up.
Gotcha. Okay.
And never stop following up until they just say, look, stop calling me or I'll call the police on you.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, but they have equity and they need to sell. I would just keep following up with them.
Okay.
If you think that you're nagging them, then you're doing a good job.
Gotcha.
Hey, Lorraine, I would also add, I thought that I saw you write down wholesale.
I meant to say to do a cash buy. Yeah.
But in the end, it may turn out to be something like a novation. So down the road, you may get an appointment, and then now Greg can help you see if he can piece that deal together.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you about that then.
That's a shameless plug for my brother. No, but seriously, he can help because they may know a little bit about wholesaling. Maybe they don't want to give their house away at that 65 or 70%, but may be willing to take more. At a in a novation situation.
Gotcha. Okay. It's worth looking at anyway.
Yes, it is.
All right, you guys. Anything else? I will say that we talked a little bit about getting started and getting leads. Some of the best leads that you can get are probate leads and pre-foreclosure. We have a company called Foreclosures Daily, that's going to be speaking to us on Thursday. And you can, and I have in the past, gotten leads from them. They get courthouse data, primarily for pre-foreclosures, but they do get probate leads as well. And so you guys tune in on Thursday. You'll be getting emails and you'll be notified through our community here. But yeah, Foreclosures Daily, a company that I've used, will be speaking to us on Thursday. And so those of you who want to pursue pre-foreclosures, probate, make sure you tune in on Thursday. And Amanda's saying that she knows someone that sells probate leads. All right, Keith, I think that's it.
Okay.
You guys,
Thanks,
if you have any other questions, you guys know how to get a hold of us. You can always DM me at Greg Bennett Invest on Instagram. Most of you guys already have my number. Anyway, we can help you guys accomplish your goals. I always like to say that you're just one property away. And so let's focus on getting that one, because that one will make a big difference, a huge difference. I look at some of the properties that I own over the years, and just to see, even just the property that I live in, just to see what type of equity that's been accumulated, and it just reconfirms that real estate is the best investment that you can make. And so you're just one property away. Let us help you get that one property. All right, you guys, take care. God bless, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Night, guys.
Good night.